The Victory was Admiral Lord Nelson's flagship in the Battle of Trafalgar in 1805. And with this ship at the head of his fleet, he achieved an impressive victory over the Napoleonic ships, but was fatally wounded in the process. The Victory has been preserved until today and is anchored in Portsmouth of England. Hello and welcome, I'm Delta 42, and today I'll be giving a brief history of a flagship of Admiral Lord Nelson, the HMS Victory. Built in Chatham in 1765 as a normal ship of the line of that period, carrying a complement of 102 guns. The HMS Victory is the fifth ship of the Royal Navy to bear this name. The first launched in 1559 and was a flagship of Sir John Hawkins at the defeat of the Spanish Armada in 1588. In 1758, it was decided to build 12 of the line ships, the largest to be a first rate of 100 guns. The new ship, to be named the Victory, was designed by Thomas Slade and launched on the 7th of May 1765. In 1793, she took big part in the capture of Toulon, and in the next year in operations against Corsica. At the siege of Calvi, men and guns from the HMS Victory were landed under the command of Captain Horatio Nelson, who lost sight of his eye from a wound in the operations. As flagship, she had many encounters under different commanders. The two most memorable being Admiral John Jervis, who commanded the Victory on the 14th of February 1797 with the captains Robert Calder and George Grey at the Battle of Cape St. Vincent, where much of the victory was due to Commodore Nelson commanding the HMS Captain. Jervis was made Lord of St. Vincent for this victory. And the better known commander was Admiral Lord Horatio Nelson, who commanded the Victory on the 21st of October 1805, where she earned undying fame at the Battle of Trafalgar, when the combined fleet of France and Spain was defeated. Nelson's tactics confused the enemy, and of their 33 ships, 18 were taken, 4 escaped to be rounded up 2 weeks later, and the remainder struggled back, badly damaged, to Cadiz. This battle ended Napoleon's bid for mastery of the sea, but Nelson himself was sounded by musket fire early in the engagement, and died in the Victory's cockpit as the battle ended. At the time of the Battle of Trafalgar, the Victory was already 40 years old. Following an extensive refit, the Victory went back into service and was employed until November 1812. In 1824, she became the flagship of Portsmouth Command, a duty that she retains to the present day. Until 1922, the Victory was berthed in Portsmouth Harbour, but she was then removed to No. 2 dock and completely restored to the condition and appearance she was in at Trafalgar. Much work is still being done to preserve the HMS Victory as perfectly as possible, and thousands of visitors go aboard with this famous vessel each year. The Victory is 226 feet and 6 inches from figurehead to taffrail, motorcycle in length and has a keel length of 152 feet and 3 inches and an extreme beam of 51 feet and 10 inches. Her tonnage is 2.162 tons, and she originally carried 104 guns, including 32 pounders on the lower deck, 28 24 pounders on the middle deck, 30 12 pounders on the upper gun deck, and 2 64 pound carronades on the forecastle. Her full complement was 850 officers and men. Today, this example of England's wooden ships lies in dry dock in Portsmouth Harbour. I've actually visited Victory before, multiple times actually. On my first visit, I was with my school, and I was walking along the second or third gun deck, where I whacked my head against a support beam that made a very loud thud that could be heard throughout the entire ship, as my sister later told me. And as any reasonable human being, I responded by yelling "ow" and swearing at roughly the same volume as the thud, only to find, upon turning around, I was in front of a mother and a small child. Upon reaching a teacher as I departed the ship, they told me off for swearing, never mind the fact that I could have had a concussion. My sister, upon hearing the full details of the incident, just laughed and said I was an idiot for not looking for where I was going. I visited the Victory on a second occasion with a cousin and managed to avoid hitting my head, and I plan on revisiting the Victory and getting some footage of my visit for my channel. Thank you so much for watching. If you enjoyed this video, leave a like, and if you want to see more videos from me, subscribe. It's free and it will help motivate me to create more content. If you want to see my other work, click the link in the description to view a full playlist of videos. Again, thank you so much for watching. Like, subscribe, and if you really feel like it, leave a comment. Goodbye and have a good day.